All right, it's Wednesday, middle of the week. Who's ready to go capture it? Who wants to share something good going on in their world? Warren,
It's not good, but I just have a question for everybody. Do you ever look at your kids and wonder if they're really yours? So my oldest yesterday, I'm out in my he shed, and mind you, just to give you guys a picture of what's going on, we have an issue with our septic. So they punched a hole to let the water out, and mind you, it's a big mound of dirt, and where the hole is and where the water goes, and this has been there for a month in our backyard. He fell in. I'm just looking at him like, Max, you could go like, there's only one other way you can go to fall into this thing. And I'm like, how? And it's like a six foot by 6 foot hole with gray water in it. So you can imagine.
oh Jesus!
And like, are you really mine?
Love it.
Sorry, that's just my story for the day.
I actually, I actually ran into an old acquaintance. This is a couple of years ago, and just kind of catching up. How are things? How's the kids, etc. And his response to me, well, I found out they were not mine. So yeah, there are situations where you really do find out that they're not yours. It was pretty wild. So I guess somebody's always got it worse, right? Somebody's always got it worse. How about some positivity? What do we got? We got a smile on our face now, thanks to Martin. Somebody got something going good? I'll just share for those of you guys trying to make improvements at the gym. Um, Tracking and measuring, just like they say, everything is, you can't improve what you're not measuring or something along those lines. And I've kind of just been a go to the gym, work hard, kind of health enthusiast. And about 6 weeks ago now, I started just using an app to just track weights and reps and stuff like that. And man, it's really making a big difference for me. It's every time I'm just trying to get one more rep or go up 5 pounds and get the same reps or darn close. And just having the metric, and you don't even need an app. You could do it in a spreadsheet. But it's helping significantly. And I've been somebody that's been going to the gym for a long time. And yeah, I just feel like I'm making faster gains than ever before by just simply getting something to track and make sure I'm trying to get one more rep. And one other thing that I will share that I never realized is, and maybe, some of you guys haven't realized this or aren't aware, but I was also of the mentality that you just always go and work hard. You always max everything out, and just been studying, muscle building and the science behind it. And there's a lot of science that says you do want to go a couple of reps short. So they call it reps in reserve. So I would always try and, on my last rep, I literally couldn't do another one. And that then hurts your next set and it hurts your next set. And so I've been using a method where it's just leaving a rep or two in reserve. And I feel like that's been making monumental differences. And the final thing that I will share is what they are calling a deload week, which would be maybe every 4 to 6 weeks, where you actually just let your muscles kind of relax a little bit and you do really, really light weight, especially if you're having a day where you're just not hitting the weights that you should normally hit. Just going a little bit lighter. Maybe you've just got some extra fatigue that's built up that hasn't gotten the rest over the 48 to 72 that you are normally giving your body. So little health and fitness this morning, but it's been really going well for me with those kind of three things: tracking and measuring, not going till I can't do another rep and leaving a couple of reps in reserve, and then doing some deload weeks every every 4 to 6. I just did my first one of these and I came back off of it. I actually was traveling last week at the Zillow Unlock conference, so just didn't feel like I could get the same workout in. So went pretty light and came back this week, and I've hit personal records on all my different exercises, which is just wild to me. After taking a week off like that, or just going light. I was still at the gym, still moving around, but not pushing myself. So whatever that's worth, if you're trying to make some progress in the gym, I think those 3 things could help a little bit. Anybody have any questions on that stuff? Anybody working hard at the gym or trying to make some gains or struggling with something gym related? Okay. What else? What's going on real estate wise? You guys got something going on a deal? Something you want to share? Offers in, negotiated it, got something accepted? What do we got going? Caitlin.
Yeah, I had an offer accepted yesterday on my first listing, so I was quite pleased with that. And the sellers are happy as well.
Yeah, let's just talk through it a little bit, Caitlin. It's always interesting to hear, what's going on both sides. I remember talking in the office a little bit. I know you had a couple of offers. What
Yeah.
ended up being some of the determining factors that went into your decision?
So we had 2 offers that we were considering. One was pretty similar price wise, just a little bit lower and FHA, and the other was conventional. Um, And, I explained everything to the sellers, and because they are under contract for their home, they did decide to move forward with the offer with the conventional that also had a sooner inspection. So just wanting some security, and not really feeling like we had a ton of time for delays. So they felt that that was the best offer to move forward with.
Yeah, I think when you're on the buy side of these deals, I think that the couple of things that she mentioned here, and what makes the determination here is just trying to take away some of the stressors from the listing side, right? A quicker inspection could be the difference, right? If you can't wait it, can you get them out there in the next day or two so they're not waiting 7 to 10 days for your inspector and to get the report in, and then to see if you're going to ask for repairs? Like, just that little bit of stress relief could be the difference. The difference between going conventional and FHA. If we've got FHA buyers, can you get them to another lender? Can we get them pre-approved conventional so we can submit with a conventional pre-approval and just say, hey, look, they're pre-approved conventional. I think we're going to end up going FHA on this one though. It just works out better financially for them. We talked about that, but whatever we can do to eliminate the stressors on the other side and making sure. Caitlin, how good were the conversations from those agents? So was either one a little bit more conversational, or were they both conversational? How did that go? Did that play any factor into your decision?
Yeah, there was definitely good communication on both ends, but I will say the winning offer, the buyer's agent, had a long conversation with me about my seller situation, and, said, what can we do for you? And, they had that in mind when they crafted their offer. And, I try to do that too when I'm on the buy side. So, just appreciate their mindfulness for our situation.
Good. Who else has got a scenario to share? And guys, when I say scenario to share, it doesn't have to be something wild and crazy, right? Like, let's just, Caitlin's a pretty basic deal. She's got the listing side. She's got a couple of offers in. Let's just kind of talk through it. See if there's something there, a lesson to be learned. So what do you got? What's going on in your world? Even if you don't think there's a lesson there, let's just talk through something. Meg.
So I brought a property to market last week, and we just finished negotiating offers last night. So we have a formally accepted offer now. It was a property in
Hey,
Southwick.
Meg, I want to interrupt you for a sec. Did both of you guys bring your properties to market on Thursday? No showings, open house on Sunday? Just curious.
That was my initial plan. However, there was a delay with pictures and stuff. This particular house was vacant, so they just kind of wanted to get it on the market as soon as possible because I didn't get my photo package till like Saturday morning. So the listing was already pre-built. I just had to add the pictures. So they asked me to put the listing live on Saturday and then actually do the open house right away on Sunday. And I honestly didn't know what I would get for traffic, but I ended up having 15 groups through and we ended up getting 5 offers on the property.
So this is a good share too. I was just talking to another agent who was nervous, or it was actually a member of the leadership team, where we had an agent that was nervous about, we got to bring we got to have pictures done on Wednesday because this thing's got to be to market on Wednesday. No showings into the open house on Sunday. If we wait any longer than that, we're not going to get anybody to this open house. And I think things just move so darn quick now. Clearly in your case, you didn't come to market till Saturday, and you're still having a good turnout at an open house. So, I don't think that we need to be as worried about, coming to market super, super early. I think Thursday is still the day in my mind that's the ideal situation. But clearly even Friday or Saturday still worked for Megan here. So that's a great share. Caitlin, what was your situation?
We were live Wednesday, deferred showings until Saturday, and then open house both Saturday, Sunday.
All right, so let's just talk through that a little bit. We'll come back to you, Meg. Meg, did you do 2 open houses or just Sunday?
Just on Sunday. The listing
Just
didn't
Sunday.
go live till late in the afternoon on Saturday.
Okay. So Caitlin, what was the turnout on Saturday? What was the turnout on Sunday? And then just out of curiosity, did either of the eventual buyers, what days did they come, or did they set up private showings after the open houses?
Yeah, so Saturday was definitely the busier day. We had about 15 groups through, same as Meg. And then Sunday was lighter. I think maybe like 8 or 9 groups, and 2 of the groups of people had been through on Saturday.
Okay, so they were repeat coming back a second time.
Yep.
Yeah. And how about the eventual buyers? Do you know, were they there on Saturday or?
They were there on Saturday.
Both of them. Yeah, good. Good. I think there's always some curiosity about running the double open houses, the Saturday, Sunday. So there's just a little bit of data for you. Caitlin had, good turnouts at both. I think the people that are the most serious tend to come as soon as they can. And I think the data proved it on this one where, both of the actual buyers were there right away on Saturday. What else was I going to ask you about? How about unrepresented, Caitlin?
1 or 2 on Saturday, and then 1 on Sunday.
Okay. And what's your follow-up been like?
I followed up with everyone, and then because I had help, other agents are reaching out to unrepresented buyers.
Okay. I mean, look, guys, we're always looking for where's that next buyer come from, and we look at the lifespan of a buyer. They start online. It's a real big jump, in my opinion, for them to leave the computer and start visiting open houses. They are demonstrating, they're taking time out of their day. That is a big jump once they start to get to that point. They are much further down the pipeline. If you are not working hard on your follow-up and adding value and trying to capture people that you meet in open house, you're making a big mistake. I mean, I know agents that they have a pile of papers after an open house. Oh yeah, I'm going to add it to the CRM. They never do. They maybe make 1 phone call. And there's no bigger mistake that you can make in real estate than not, having a systematic approach to follow up after an open house. I mean, this is as good of a lead as you're going to get. They are near the finish line. They are considering making an offer on that particular property. And you didn't have the time to put them into your CRM, set them up on a listing alert, try to add some value. I think it's a big mistake, and I see it all the time. A pile of papers, and they never get in, or they get 1 phone call. All right, Meg, let's come back to you.
One of the things I wanted to bring up, I ended up doing this open house later on in the day than I normally would. I did a 2 to 3:30. And it was interesting. Some of the people who came through were like, thank you so much for doing an open house later in the day. They were younger families, kids, obviously in sports. So I think for me, it was an eye opener, like, oh, maybe I should start kind of switching up the times that I'm doing open houses. And then the other thing was, he's like, why are they always only just an hour and a half? And I was like, well, honestly, normally I do the 2 hours. Today, this was all the time that I had. So, because like I said, I thought the house was going on the market the following week, but we squeezed it in. So it was just interesting feedback I thought I'd share.
Yeah, that's great. And I think that makes a lot of sense. I do think later could be better. The key is to just do them, right? So number of bodies or parties through yours, Meg?
We had about 15 groups through.
Oh, that's right. You said 15. And then how many unrepresented?
There was one who was just kind of a looky-loo neighbor, had followed up with them just to kind of offer to do a market analysis on their house. They said they'd get back to me, so I'll follow up again. And then the other unrepresented actually did end up putting in an offer. Her offer was not accepted, so I'll just, keep in front of her and hope to retain her as a potential buyer.
Good. Anybody have any questions, or just, now that we're kind of diving deep on open houses, questions about the open houses, or, hey, has anybody thought about this, or, just if you're curious about something. I know one thing that kind of comes up quite a bit is the Thursday twilight open houses. Anybody can speak to that? Have you tried one? I think traditionally you're still Thursday, come to market, hold the showings, open houses Saturday, Sunday. But if it doesn't move that first weekend, it'd be interesting to see what a Thursday that following week could do. I don't know if anybody wants to speak to this. If anybody's got a property that's sitting, might be something to try.
Yeah, I've actually seen a couple of them lately, a couple of agents that have gone live with them, and not necessarily just in our brokerage, but it does seem like they have gotten a pretty good response from the consumers, right? Especially if it's after that, like 6 to 7:30 window where it's like everyone's home from school, maybe practice is over, and they can just go check something out. I think it's more about convenience. People are super busy, and I think it's the same mindset as the weekend stuff. Maybe they can't get it to the weekend because their kids are in sports or they have lots of things going on, but an evening after work is totally reasonable for them to be able to swing by. So I think it makes a lot of sense. And I have seen other agents that are doing it seem like they've had pretty good turnouts. The other thing that I've been seeing quite a bit lately, mostly in the higher price points, or if a property has been sitting in our broker stores, and I know that there's a lot of different opinions about brokers opens, but I do think that they are beneficial in certain instances. And I would love to hear what you guys have to say about it. But there's a house in my neighborhood that was listed by an agent that he's not local. He's from the Boston area, and he put this property on, and it's a nice house. It's a flip, but it's significantly overpriced. And I think that he was doing a broker's open to try to get some feedback, because it's been on for 4 weeks and I don't think they've had anything happen. Their open house was completely dead. So I'm just curious to see if anyone's doing brokers tours and if they feel like they're beneficial.
Go ahead, Meg.
So I did do one over the summer at a listing, similar situation, definitely overpriced, but, sellers needed that feedback from someone other than me. It was pretty well attended by agents locally here in Westfield, and it did help us get an additional price reduction from the sellers. But at this point, the property still hasn't moved, but it definitely, I felt it was a value add from my perspective. Yeah, it cost me money, it cost my time, but it definitely helped me with additional conversations and to have that feedback to share with the sellers. I created a template and asked agents to fill it out for me with very specific questions, and then I was able to compile the feedback and share it with the sellers. So I found it really helpful.
Yeah, I think that's the highest and best use is a property that's not moving, to get agents into that property to give you some feedback so you can turn around and then use it to get a price reduction. Hey, we had 15 agents come through. Here's their feedback, right? Almost like, where do you think this property should be priced? Not, is it overpriced? Where do you think this property should be priced to move? Let them fill in a number and then turn around and show it to your seller. Hey, here's what the market's saying. These guys have buyers in this market. Here's what they're saying. I'm curious, Meg, how much work did you put in to get, how many did you say showed up?
I had 10 agents come through.
Okay, and how much work did you put into to get those 10 agents there?
So it was basically a week ahead of time. I put it on the MLS. Then I reached out to every agent who had a potential buyer match through reverse prospecting, the ones that I could see. And then I reached out individually to agents, like locally, like the Westfield agents, kind of sent out a notification through showing time. It was, I'd say in terms of prep work and invitations, about 3 hours worth of work over the course of a few days. Then I partnered with one of my lenders, and they helped me pay for lunch and drinks. And then I just did a gift card raffle for, those who came and put in feedback.
Yeah, I love it. Well executed. But I did want, and I knew kind of what you had done, and I did want to make sure that everybody heard the process, right? This isn't you just throw it in the MLS and cross your fingers. I think if you do that, I don't know that you're going to get anybody. The other thing is Megan's built a reputation over how long you been in the business, Meg?
Oh gosh, a lot, like 12 years, 13, 12 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of those 10 agents that showed up, how many of them had you done a deal with?
Say 7 out of the 10.
Yeah. Right. So there's that, right? Megan's earned that respect. And this is what we're talking about when you say, hey, you got to be kind. You got to give the feedback. You got to be doing everything that you can to put deals together, to be an agent that other agents want to do deals with. This is 12 years in the making, right? I think if you're a brand new agent and you just put a broker's open out there in the MLS, I think you're going to get crickets, right? So you're going to have to do all the extra stuff that Megan did, and then some. Maybe your gift has to be bigger. Maybe your drinks and your apps have to be a little bit more luxurious to get people there. But I do think if you've got a property that's not moving, there is no better way to get good quality feedback than to get the local agents there and ask them, what do you think about the condition? And where do you think this property needs to be priced to sell? Right? Because you can sit there and tell your sellers till you're blue in the face that this is where I think it needs to be. This is what the comps say, right? Man, it would be nice to get it in writing from other agents local to that market and then present. So Meg, I'll put you on the spot here. You got some feedback. You lowered the price, and it still hasn't moved. So did you not lower it, or were the sellers not willing to lower to kind of what the agents were saying, or what are your thoughts there?
So we're still about anywhere from $25,000 to $50,000 off where the feedback came in at. This is a property where, unfortunately, it came on the market a lot later than we planned. And I think if they had gone on the market where I told them, even though that number is more than what these agents were saying for feedback, we probably would not have had any trouble getting an offer, in the April, May, even early June timeframe. We just, they saw a house down the street. They were so sure that their house was in greater value by comparison to that one. And they were adamant that that's the price that they were going to list at. We had upfront discussed, you know, a timeline of potential price reductions because I knew this was potentially the situation we were putting ourselves in. But at this point, they, you know, I think, unfortunately, because of our days on market, and even though we've done the price reductions, people are just assuming, you know, there's something wrong with this property because it's been on the market for so long.
Yeah. What's your days on market at right now?
I think we're at like 60, 62.
Okay. Guys, that's getting a black eye. 62 days on market. That's like nothing in a normal market, right? And when I started, it was pretty much like, I feel like most of our stuff was 3 to 6 months. And I would say 50% of our listings, we'd have to do an extension and get another 6-month listing agreement. Right. And in this market, it's 60 days and she's feeling like it's got a black eye. These are the conversations that you've got to have. And you know, Megan's a seasoned veteran. I'm sure she had these conversations, and you still sometimes you get a seller that's just not willing to listen. Right. But at least you've got to have the conversations. Hey, if this happens, if we miss in the first couple of weeks, man, we are in trouble. Right. I think it was, I don't know if it was Zillow or it was KCM where I saw some recent data where it's like average days on market or average to accepted offer is like 20, but then the average of the rest of the ones that are still sitting is like 55. It's like if you miss that first window, you could be in some trouble. So we've got to do everything that we can at those initial conversations to make sure they price it right. Balanced with, you don't want to lose out to somebody else that's trying to buy the listing, right? If you're competing against another agent and you're telling them 500 and the other agent's telling them 550, sellers hear 550 and go, I want to list with that agent. I don't care how good you are, how experienced you are, how good your marketing is. You can lose to somebody that just said 550 if you're at 500 because all they heard, they didn't hear about everything else, your experience, your marketing. They heard 550 versus 500. What's the worst case? What, you know, I'd rather go with this agent, thinks they can get us 550. The worst case is you sell for 450 when you come on at 550. That's the worst case. And those are the conversations that you got to be able to have when we're talking about pricing it and making sure that it's their decision on the pricing. So I'll push Sharon's pricing strategy training again. If you haven't studied that, watch it multiple times. These are really critical conversations. So just special thanks to Caitlin and Megan this morning. I appreciate you guys bringing up these scenarios. This is the type of stuff that that really moves these calls. You know, you raise your hand if you learned a little something today on the call. Just quick hands, right? We didn't go any wild, crazy scenarios, right? But there's still plenty of little nuances or little pieces of data or even like what's going on in today's market that you can pull out of this just by kind of dissecting stuff that you guys have got going on. So great shares today. Go crush your Wednesdays. Tomorrow morning, I won't be able to join you guys. KB is going to run the show and I will be back on Friday. I think she's got some good stuff planned though. So miss you guys tomorrow. Make it a great one and we'll talk to you soon. Take care.